Hi, everybody. This is Maxine Taylor, America's first licensed astrologer, and I have your astrological overview for the month of September 2021. Now more than ever before, we need a positive outlook, a positive forecast, if not for the world, then at least for ourselves, so that we have hope and we have something to look forward to. And so I want to share with you, before I go into your September forecast, my September special, and I'd like to encourage you to take advantage of this. It is a forecasting special. You can order either a 6-month forecast or a 12-month forecast for yourself. Now, remember, the forecasts that I'm going to be giving you today are based on your sun sign. The forecasts that I am offering as part of my special are based on your exact month, day, and year, and the city and state where you were born, and the exact minute, the exact time you were born. With our world spinning out of control and being crazier than ever, it's very important that we hang on to what is best for each of us individually. And this is why I'm offering my September special for the entire month of September. Today is September 1. Just go to my website. You will find on the front of the website all the information you need to take advantage of this special. I hope you will. It will be my pleasure to be able to guide you through the next 6 months at least, or 12 months at least. As you know, if I've done your forecast, you know a 6-month forecast is always more than 6 months. And an annual forecast is always more than a year, because of the eclipse patterns and other astrological activities. So I hope you will take advantage of it. And I look forward to serving you and encouraging you, because our world is going to continue to spin round and round in its crazy way. And we need sanity and we need hope. So that's number one. Number two, I am thrilled to announce my latest book. It's so new. It's on Amazon.com, but I don't even have a copy of the actual book. This is the proof. As you can see, it says not for sale. And the name of the book is Your First Sexual Imprinting. This is not an astrology book. This is a personal empowerment book for women. The full title is Your First Sexual Imprinting and a Method for Releasing Old Emotional Trauma. I have a method called Take Back Your Life. I've shared it with many of you over the last 40 to 45 years, which helps you step by step break down any situation in your life, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's career. It doesn't matter what the category is, but it helps you move forward simply and easily through it. I love this method, and many of you also do. The first sexual imprinting is actually your first sexual experience. And while very often it is a lovely experience, more often than not, it is not. It is particularly so when it occurs when you are a child, before you're able to identify verbally what has just gone on. And the only way that you know that something is wrong is by your parents' reaction. If you have ever been molested, mistreated sexually, anything along those lines, you're going to want to get a copy of this book, because what happens in childhood sets the tone for the entire rest of our lives. And so I highly recommend this book. If you are really resonating with what I'm saying and you would like your own Take Back Your Life session, your own first sexual imprinting session with me, one-on-one, just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com, and look under the social, I forget what the tab is called. My webmaster has described it. It's spiritual coaching, excuse me, spiritual coaching. You know, the terminology doesn't even begin to tell it. If you will look under the spiritual coaching tab, you'll find all this information, and you and I can get together and have a face-to-face Zoom session, one-on-one. I highly recommend it. The session goes quickly, and you will blow yourself out of the frame with the revelations you will get in just a few hours' time. Okay, so those are my announcements. I've got other notes here. I want to make sure I'm covering everything. Okay, that should cover it. Now, let's talk about what is going on astrologically in September. First of all, the sun, the center of our solar system, the giver of life is the sun. The sun is in Virgo. Cross those T's and dot those I's, Virgo. And so we are doing just that. We are crossing T's and dotting I's until the 22nd of the month, when the sun moves into charming, lovely, I say the right thing at the right time to the right person, Libra. And the change is very apparent when the sun goes from Virgo into Libra. Okay, that's the first planet. The second planet I want to talk about is Mercury, and some of you already know where I'm going to go with this one. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. And yes, it's getting ready to go retrograde this month. Now, for those of you who may be new to astrology, let me explain what a retrograde Mercury means. When Mercury is retrograde, it appears to be moving backwards in the heavens. It is not moving backwards, but it appears to be moving backwards. It feels like it's moving backwards. And this is a time when everything is confused. We do not start new projects on a retrograde Mercury. Instead, we tie up the loose ends of unfinished projects. Remember, this happens 3 times a year. Now, on the 7th of September, Mercury enters what we call the shadow of the retrograde Mercury. And by that, I mean, it feels like Mercury is retrograde. A lot of people walk around and say, is Mercury retrograde? Because it sure feels that way. It is not retrograde until the 27th of September, when it goes retrograde in 25 Libra. Find 25 of Libra in your birth chart, because this is the area of life in which things get crazy. However, when Mercury goes retrograde, many of you know, it is not limited to just one area of the zodiac, to one house in your birth chart. It affects everybody. It affects the world. And you'll see it around you. It's a time to tie up the loose ends of unfinished projects, not to start a new project. So are you going to sell your house on a retrograde Mercury? No. Are you going to buy a new house on a retrograde Mercury? No. Are you going to start a new job? Not if you want it to last. Okay? So Mercury will be retrograde until October 19th. And so we have a lot of time. Next month, we'll talk about the rest of the retrograde Mercury. So Mercury goes retrograde in lovely Libra. And so the best made, the best laid plans of mice and men. You know what that means. So you're going to tie up the loose ends of unfinished projects. Now, Venus, the planet of love, starts off the month in its own sign, which is Libra. And Venus in Libra loves partnership. It wants to interact with other people. On the 10th, it moves into Scorpio. And Scorpio is a very powerful sign. In my opinion, it is the most powerful sign in the entire zodiac. It is my suggestion that when Venus moves into Scorpio, you look very deeply within yourself at your love nature and what is going on. Now, with Mercury in the shadow of the retrograde on September 7th, everything starts getting kerflooey and crazy. So you're not, if you meet somebody, let's say, you're not necessarily going to race off and get married. What you're going to do is wait until after Mercury goes direct. That means it comes out of retrograde in October before you make permanent changes, okay? Remember, we don't start new projects under a retrograde Mercury. And lastly, Mars. Mars is passion. Mars is what we fight with and fight for. It is in cross those T's and dot those I's, Virgo. And so what you'll find is that the whole world is arguing over details now. It'll drive you nuts. It really will, unless you are a Virgo, and then you can deal with it very easily. On the 14th, Mars moves into Libra and says, I'm no longer fighting over details. I want to fight for my relationships. I want to fight for truth. And I want that one-on-one relationship. Remember to wait until after Mercury goes direct in October to finalize those plans. So in the middle of this, we have a new moon and a full moon, right? The new moon is on the 6th in the Eastern time zone. Those of us in the Eastern time zone, the new moon in 14 degrees of Virgo is on September 6th. A lot is going on the 6th, not just the new moon. It's Labor Day. It's Rosh Hashanah. Good yontif to those of you celebrating Rosh Hashanah. And the beauty of the new moon is that's when things start moving forward. The problem with this particular new moon is that's when Mercury enters the shadow of the retrograde. Just when you thought it was safe to get back into the water. So just be aware of that. 2 weeks after the new moon, we have the full moon on September 20th in 28 degrees of Pisces. Now, on the full moon, things come to a head. And so you're going to find 28 degrees of Pisces in your birth chart, because that is where that's the area of life in which things come to a head. And we are all finishing up the Pisces lesson because it's in 28 degrees of Pisces, meaning in 2 degrees, just 2 degrees. The moon would be in Aries. And so we're finishing off the lesson of service. We're finishing off the lesson of dreaming, of wishful thinking, of perhaps make believe. And after the full moon, for 2 weeks, the moon starts waning. And once again, in October, we start headed for another new moon. So it's going to be a crazy month. Again, I want to encourage you to take advantage of my September special. Just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. I look forward to answering your questions because you have room on your order form to ask all questions and to helping you cope beautifully with the retrograde Mercury and everything going on in our world. And so until we meet again next month, this is Maxine Taylor saying, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now, dear friends.